Hey YouTube! So this video is going to be a little bit different from any other video that I've done. And I just felt it was really important to me to kind of document the way I'm feeling at this point during this pregnancy. And what the topic of this video is going to be about is all about my fears with baby number 2. And I want to start off this by saying that this in no way means that I'm ungrateful for having baby number 2 or that I regret it, because it's not the case at all. I completely wanted this baby and I'm so thankful that we're having this baby, and my fears I still wouldn't change anything for the world. However, that being said, I do have fears heading into baby number 2, and that's probably all because of my experience with baby number 1, since I didn't have any of these fears heading into baby number 1 because I didn't know what to expect. So I do have things that I'm a little bit worried about, and I just wanted to, document them to see. It just makes me feel better to put it all out there and to know that I'm aware of these fears and that I'm doing things to help prevent them and to help ease my mind. And plus I think it would be cool to look back on, once this baby's here and older, just to see what I was thinking and feeling right before I had baby number 2. Okay, so being 33 weeks pregnant, and at this point in my pregnancy, there are 3 main things that I worry about. These things are, number 1, labor and delivery, which I know I've discussed in other videos. The second thing would be breastfeeding, and the third thing would be colic, infant colic. So I'm going to briefly tell you why and what about these things kind of scare me, and then what I'm doing to try and stay on top of them and try and make sure that it's better this time around. Okay, number 1, labor and delivery. So if you don't already know about my past labor and delivery, I'll put a link to the story right here. But yeah, basically it was really fast, really painful. So probably one of my biggest fears is that it's going to come on really fast, really painful, just like it did before. I fear that I won't be able to make it to the hospital, or that being home with my daughter, watching her during the day, if it were to happen during the day, that somebody won't be able to come pick me up in time. I also fear that as soon as I start feeling those contractions, it's going to put me into a panic attack, that I'm going to remember just how painful it was and what's coming, and that I'm just going to start to freak out, which obviously I really don't want to do, and I know that could spur on a lot of worse things. So yeah, I'm just scared that it's all going to start and I won't cope, because I've been in that situation before, and it's a really scary thing when you can't cope with the way that you're feeling or cope with yourself in general. So just that feeling of losing control, that's what I'm scared about for labor and delivery. Breastfeeding. So I'm not really scared per se about breastfeeding, I just do have fears because with Kayla we only breastfed up to 3.5 months for a variety of reasons, and I really want to be able to breastfeed longer this time. I really want to make it to ideally a year, but at least 6 months. So there are a few things that didn't work with Kayla that I hope will work this time around with Rylie. Okay, so one of the things I'm really concerned about is latch. And that is because I had flat nipples when I had Kayla, and so obviously she couldn't latch. We tried, and the nipple shield is what saved us. This time around, I really want to try and avoid the nipple shield because I feel like it just made it more complicated later on. So that's one of the things I want to try and avoid. We also discovered around, I think 4 weeks or 6 weeks, or maybe it was 3 weeks, I don't remember right now, that Kayla had a dairy intolerance. So I had to go off dairy while breastfeeding. Which was difficult but fine because it made it a lot better for her. So I'm just kind of worried this time around for Rylie. I don't want to, be eating dairy with her having a dairy intolerance, but I also don't want to go off dairy just because Kayla had a dairy intolerance. So I don't really know how to approach that situation. And the last thing with breastfeeding I'm kind of worried about is a nursing strike. Now, I didn't really know what a nursing strike was while I was dealing with it, but looking back now, that's definitely what I was dealing with. One day, Kayla woke up, absolutely refused to nurse, would scream and scream and scream, and this went on for almost 2 days, unless we gave her a bottle. So I thought that it was just because she was getting more used to the bottle and it had a faster flow, and that could be the case, but I think also, I mean, she was like 3 months old, I think she was doing a nursing strike maybe also. So there's just a lot that goes along with breastfeeding, and I just really hope, obviously, that it's a more positive and successful experience this time around. Okay, infant colic. That is probably one of the toughest things you could ever go through, in my opinion. And I did a story, maybe I'll link it here, of our experience with infant colic, but it was brutal. Basically, Kayla had it till she was 4 months old. It was super tough. And we got through it, which I'm proud to say, but if we have to go through it again with Rylie, I can't imagine dealing with that and a second child. I really can't. I know that if it happens, we're going to have to deal with it and we'll cope and we will find a way, but I'm scared. I'm scared to death that it's going to happen again because it was the hardest thing ever. And along with just dealing with the colic was obviously lack of sleep, complete and total lack of sleep. And for me, that also stemmed into kind of like postpartum depression, baby blues that I was dealing with. So just a lot of bad things are linked, were linked to infant colic. And I mean, if this baby is even the slightest bit better than Kayla was, I'll consider us lucky. I'm not hoping for a perfect baby who's completely content, don't get me wrong, I'm not hoping for that. Obviously that would be wonderful if we had a really chill, super chill baby, but I just hope that we're able to handle and cope with it, which I'm sure we are, but I'm just scared. Okay, with all that being said, those are my fears, and I believe it's completely normal and natural to have these fears, especially when you've just dealt with it 18 months, ago. It's so fresh in my memory, and I think it's a good thing to not be in denial about it and to address the fact that there are things that didn't go so well the first time, or just things that you're scared about happening the second time. So yeah, I think it's just a good thing to address it, and there are a couple things I've been doing to prevent some of these things that I'll share right now. With labor and delivery, I've just been trying to keep it fresh in my memory, just keep it in the forefront of my mind, basically, that to know that it's something that's coming, it's something that my body is able to handle. Yes, it's gonna hurt, but it doesn't last forever, and just like reassuring thoughts are what really helped me. Just knowing that you're made to have a child and that you are going to get through it, even if it hurts like heck, you're not going to die. So those kind of things help me. My doctors also told me that if I have a panic attack, it's safe to take Ativan during labor, so they have that on hand as well. I never had to take it with Kayla, but it's good to know it's there. With breastfeeding, I have been using the Advent Nippolette, which helps extend your nipples so you don't hopefully deal with flat nipples, and I use that up until 20 weeks pregnant, and I'm about to start that again at 36 weeks because I just don't want to put myself into early labor. So I've been using that, and I hope that that really helps. I also plan on going off dairy a couple weeks before Rylie's born. I think it's the best way to prevent anything from happening with dairy intolerance, and then I can slowly add it back in and see if it affects her. I think that's better than eating dairy and then going off cold turkey, so that's something preventative I'm going to do. I also plan on, if at all possible, trying to use a bottle less, or not at all. I don't want my baby to be so attached that it can't take a bottle, that's not the goal here, but I don't want my baby to recognize that a bottle has a faster flow than what my nipples do, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to be more cautious when using a bottle this time around. Okay, infant colic. Honestly, there's not a lot you can really do to prevent that. Obviously, going off dairy might help a little bit. My husband is going to take 1 month of paternity leave, which he did with Kayla also. So that'll be super helpful because at least the first month that Rylie's here, I'm going to have help, and I'm going to know that if I'm completely exhausted, he can help me out. So, but other than that, colic is something kind of unexplainable, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, so we just gotta hope that it's a little bit easier this time around. With most of these fears, I just need to keep in mind that this is just a short period in life, that these babies, they grow so fast. So even if it is just as tough as Kayla was, or God forbid worse than Kayla was in some aspects, then that's okay. We'll make it through somehow. But I just feel good to, you know, address these issues and just keep them in my mind and know that if we need to, we can handle it. So if you're dealing with anything similar, and if you have any fears that you want to share or any advice, feel free to leave me a comment below. I think that's it for this video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!